Welcome to The Brain Dump, where we study the psychology of success. Join us as we probe the habits, rituals, and routines of top-performing artists, entrepreneurs, authors, athletes, and more to uncover the timeless principles we can all use to take our lives to the next level. Are you ready to plunge the grunge that's been gunking up your mind's eye? Great, then let's get to it.
Guys, welcome back to The Brain Dump. Austin in the house. We got Anthony with the good mic.
I'm with the good mic.
Man, I'm so jealous right now. Now I'm going to have to build out my own podcast studio. I can't take it. Guys, he's all in his new podcast studio. They're the big time now. Now I'm going to have to fly up there.
For those of you guys that are watching this video from home, I just want you to take a second to enjoy. Look at that.
Oh my goodness! Now you're
actually nobody's there, so that's a bummer. How about
now you're just getting fancy? Oh my god!
I have this fancy switchboard, so people at home are like, I have no idea what's happening right now, but I'm pushing buttons and things are happening on screen. It's really cool.
Multiple camera angles, logos, guys. He's the big time.
Yeah. So today we're not going to be talking so much about the podcast and like my camera and my microphone. We're going to be talking about something that's a little bit more interesting and maybe more applicable. So I created what I think to be one of the most clickbaity posts of my life. But underlying it, there's actually some really good content that I want to talk about around habits and success. So the clickbaity post that came out is the 8 habits that made me a millionaire.
Oh my God. Wait, Anthony, wait. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be a millionaire. I don't need that kind of money. Right?
Okay, that's fine. Then you need to turn off, tune out right now. Don't stop listening. I'm not going to make you.
That's the first thing they're going to comment on. How dare you?
Yeah, listen, guys, I'm not saying that money is going to solve all your problems, but it does solve all your money problems. And when I think about my life and the areas that caused me the most stress, it revolved around 2 things. One was not knowing where I was going to live, and the other was money. And once I solved those 2 issues, it allowed me to move up Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I'm no longer worried about my basic requirements, my basic survival. And now I can focus on things like self-actualization and becoming my best self and having a bigger impact on the world at large. And so, like, listen, I'm not saying money is the end all be all, but listen, if you're of the mindset, like, I don't need money. Well, here's the thing. I don't believe you can give up something that you don't have. So you don't know what it's like to have money and just walk away from it and give it up. And so to be able to take the stance of like, I don't need that, like, you don't know. So let's try. Let's first win the money game, because I can teach you how to do that. It's the science of achievement versus the art of fulfillment. Like, it's a science, like making money. It's a game. We can teach you the rules and you go win the game and then decide, I don't need to play this game anymore.
All right. So number 1 on here, reading. Oof.
Read constantly, dude. Like, it's silly. The successful people that I know without failure read constantly. It's to the point now where it's not just like, oh, you become successful and you read. It's like, I think it's because you become successful because you read.
Mm-hmm. Well, think of it this way. At the end of the day, I think the interesting thing that I just read this morning, so funny that we're talking about it, is that people are scared to read something that they don't know anything about. Like, somebody in the book's going to reach out and grab them and say, you don't know this. But like, isn't that the whole point of reading, is to challenge the mind and press the limits of new things? And maybe you don't learn it the first time, but as you continue to get basic information down, then you can constantly build on top of that knowledge base.
Reading, it's so powerful because you get to have an intimate, in-depth conversation with an expert on a topic. Whether or not you agree with that expert, that's an entirely different thing. But filling your mind with the thoughts and like surrounding yourself with geniuses. And because you can pick and choose which books you read. You don't need to read 1,000 books. You could read the same 100 books over and over, pick the smartest people in an area and just keep reading their thoughts and then thinking about it. And this isn't just reading with your eyeballs. I will go ahead and count Audible as well. Really what it's about is consuming material that somebody else has dedicated a large portion of their life to create. It's different than a blog article, and reading blog articles and those things, those are good too. But I think books in particular, the person on the other side that created it, they spent a long time mastering that craft. And so spend some time unpacking what they spent so long packing.
Dude, I'm reading a book right now, and don't get me wrong, it's not an easy read, but I'm reading a book called The Secrets of Sand Hill, and it's about private equity firms. And this guy spent 40 years in Silicon Valley in private equity firms. He's basically breaking it down soup to nuts. Why would I not get a firsthand experience?
Exactly. And we're going to talk about this in one of the next habits, but let's go to number 2 on the list.
Number 2, exercise daily.
Yep. Your body is the only vehicle you get. Take care of it. It will take care of you. It is that simple. At the end of the day, if you're not taking care of your body, everything gets so much harder. It's so much harder to get out of bed, to have the energy to make it through the day. And when it comes to being successful, you have to have energy. There's no other way around it. So you have to start by taking care of the thing that's carrying you through the game, your body.
I'm going to make it very clear, and I'll just leave it at this. You're not allowed to coach with me if you're not working out. Simple as that. Because if you're not pouring into your body and your health, then what's the point of working on your mind?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's if you want to be successful, but you're not willing to do what it takes to take care of yourself first, you don't have what it takes to be successful.
Nope. Done. It's not even a question. It's the first thing I say. So yeah, as simple as that. Not even going to work. All right. This is the one that changed my life.
This is the one.
Find mentors.
My whole stance, and like this goes back to the reading thing, right? Like you maybe don't have access to Elon Musk or Steve Jobs or these other people. So go read their biographies, go read the thoughts of the people who do have access to them. Like you can get in their spheres without actually being in the same room with them. But at the end of the day, like whether or not you can get in the same room or they're like a virtual mentor, the easiest, the quickest way to the top of the mountain is to follow somebody who has already been there. And in the post, listen, there are no bonus points for doing it yourself. Nope. There are no bonus points. Nobody cares if you made it halfway up the mountain all on your own. It doesn't matter. So don't be too proud to ask for help.
Dude, I was talking to these guys from lives in Japan about crypto NFT this morning. And we were talking about how decentralization of technology and everything has made it more available with social media to get to talk to anybody about anything. But ultimately, I've spoken to somebody in England, Japan, Spain, Minnesota, California, and Chicago today. So you don't have any excuses anymore by having access to people and knowledge, and get surrounded by that. Water finds its level. Make sure you're the dumbest guy in the room, and I promise you, you'll soon be the smartest.
That's a good way of putting it. So, there is no excuse to this anymore.
No, there is not.
Yeah.
So give more than you take. By the way, this might as well be tattooed on my chest.
This is such an important concept that I think everybody just needs to constantly be reminded of, is that the most important return metric cannot be tracked on a spreadsheet. The most important return metric is return on karma and doing the right thing. It's one of those, you put it out into the universe, it has a way of coming back around. You can't track it, can't measure it, but it is the most powerful force. And so lead with value, lead by giving with very little expectation, because if you can go into every interaction, whether it's business or personal, with zero expectations, you can never be disappointed with the result.
Dude, social capital is a real thing. It allows me access to operate in spaces and get buy-in from people because I leave, as I would say, I leave a little bit on the bone for everybody. Like, this is a long-term game. I'm not looking to take the most amount of money out. I'm always going to make sure everybody's getting a win-win. And by doing that, I create social capital that you can't put a price tag on. And it's a no-brainer. Now this one,
which ties into the next habit,
I have not done this, but this is a very interesting topic. Keep a decision journal.
Oh, you skipped number 5. That's okay.
We'll wait. Pardon me. We'll still go back to number 5 because this might as well be.
This is number 6.
This is number 6. Keep a decision journal.
This is super powerful. And of all the habits that are in this list, this is probably the one that the fewest number of people do, but in my life has played the biggest impact, in the sense that Judgment is a superpower. So you have to hone it with intention. But the problem is, how do we become better decision makers? This was not something that was taught in school. Nobody was taught a framework for how to evaluate your decisions and then to retroactively audit those decisions, say in a 6-month or 1-year time frame, to say, like, was that the right decision? Is what I was thinking at the time, did I come to the right conclusion for the right reasons? We have a way of like getting to the end and then changing the narrative of what we were thinking at the time that we made the decision. We always cast ourselves in the best light. And so by keeping a decision journal in the moment where you can write down objectively and call your shot and say, this is what I think is going to happen. This is why I'm making this decision. And then revisiting that in the future allows you to catch things where you're like, oh my God, I made this decision for all the wrong reasons, but it worked out in the end for these reasons that I didn't even consider.
You know what Mark told me the other day when we were talking about one of our clients? He said he's not paying you for his decisions. He's paying you for your confidence. Because I'm quick to make a decisive decision because I view that my judgment is pretty good when it comes to overseeing the different angles of an opportunity, right? And kind of big picturing it / looking at ways that it serves you. And I think that's something to be thoughtful for, because ultimately, as you continue to make more money, people are paying you for your judgment and your confidence behind that decision.
Yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, the reason people go do business with Warren Buffett is because he has a history of having incredible judgment. So that's never going to go away.
So number 5 actually might as well just be called Austin Linney. I think you should change the title. Networking every single day. Now, here's how I'm going to turn this on its head, because everybody knows me. So let's just call that what it is. But how does an introvert such as you, which you've come out of your shell, obviously a lot more this year and the year prior, how does an introvert per se, who's running his businesses, how does he network every day when maybe it's not as a top priority on his list?
Well, that's the first thing, is you make it a top priority. And I don't want to hear conversations about introverts, extroverts. It's a moot point. I don't care if you are an introvert. It doesn't change the fact that this is important and you should prioritize it. It's going to be harder for you. Nobody said it was going to be easy. Nobody said the success was going to be easy. There's going to be a lot of things when building a business or building a successful life that are not easy, that don't come naturally to you. It doesn't mean you don't do them or you get to use that as an excuse. There are some things that I'm way better at than Austin. He doesn't get to complain about those things in the same way that I don't get to complain about not liking networking as much as him or being naturally inclined to do it. So it doesn't matter if you like it or not. It needs to get done. And so the only way to do that is to prioritize it and say, I'm going to do it.
I love that. Guys, I could sit here, but everybody knows my everybody knows my freaking stance on this. I'm pretty sure it's literally tattooed on my forehead. Now, this is an interesting one, because I feel like we've talked about this before, you and I was in Sedona. I remember where I was. We have brought the practice daily gratitude into our routine, and I think it has since lost some of its value.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So this one is practice daily gratitude. And the thing is, we definitely bastardize it, but that doesn't change the underlying fact that gratitude is incredibly important for creating a life of satisfaction. By actually looking and being grateful for what you have around you and not just wanting more, but being content with what you have and how your life is at that moment. One of the interesting things about gratitude is that you cannot simultaneously be angry, frustrated, upset, and grateful at the same time. You can't do it. They're polar opposite emotions. And so by being grateful, you can't feel those other emotions. And that's powerful. Now, the other side of this is, in this tweet, what it says is gratitude is linked with 30% increase in productivity. Also, it feels good. What more do you need? We can use it as a hack for getting more productivity. But at the end of the day, it's about life satisfaction. And that's really what the money is all for anyway, right? So that we can ideally be happier and buy back our time so we can go doing things that we want to do. But realize that at the end of the day, you don't need the money to be happy or to be grateful. Right now, you could be grateful. And if you're feeling negative emotions like anxiety or sadness, you can overwrite those right now just by reflecting deeply on what you're grateful for.
Well, I was walking with a buddy, and you don't know if I was complaining or just being complacent. And he said, Austin, be careful that the life that you were fighting for, that you currently are living. And it was like, oh, wait, this thing that I longed for 2 years, flying around the country, consulting people on Airbnbs, having my own podcast was what I was searching for, and I'm living it currently, and yet I'm not showing any gratitude around the situation. And it was in that moment that I kind of like paused and said, oh, I'm going to be extremely grateful every day because I created what I was seeking. Super powerful.
Yeah. And what I would say to people who maybe are not where they want to be yet, reflect on the fact that you are on the path, period. Reflect and be grateful for where you are on the path, because you could always be further behind where you are. So that's one thing, right? Like Gary Vee talks about like the guy who's ranked last on the planet. Like if you were to rank everybody in terms of like how much money they have or happiness or like their life circumstances, there's a guy out there who's ranked 7 billionth, right? There's a guy out there ranked number 1, but there's a guy who's out there ranked 7 billionth. And you're not that guy. If you're listening to this podcast, you're not that person. And so be grateful you're not that.
And the 7th billion guy still has a chance.
He's still got a chance. He's in the game. He's in the game, right?
So who gives a shit? Now this one, Anthony, you don't coach people, but let me tell you something right now. I would say this is in the top 5 of the number 1 things I have to fix with my clients.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. To-do lists. This one is ditch the to-do list. To-do lists are a waste. Learn to time block and schedule everything. Just trust me on this. As a guy who has ADHD, I actually have a to-do list. Like when I say these things, like they're a little bit tongue-in-cheek hyperbole. It's like, don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. The point here is the to-do list on its own is not a good tool for getting things done. And if you want to make money, you got to have to figure out a way to be productive with the hours that you have. And to-do lists, they make you feel, one is a little bit of overwhelm because that list is always growing and you're always throwing things on there. But it's also confusing being busy with being productive and effective, because the things that we tend to check off the to-do list are the easy things that don't move the needle forward. And so more important is to time block, to take control of your schedule by every single day, taking that to-do list and transposing it onto the calendar and actually scheduling when you're going to do the different tasks so that you can be sure that, one, the things get done, but two, the things that you need to get done are the things that are making it onto the calendar. So you're scheduling your perfect day. And when you do that, when you take back your schedule, it's so empowering, because you start to realize like there's a lot of things on your to-do list that just don't matter. I have things on my to-do list that have been there for months, and they're going to be there for a couple more months, because when I'm looking at my calendar and I'm like, I have an hour here that I could dedicate towards something. What's the most important thing I can move forward? It's not, there's a lot of things on my to-do list that don't make the cut. So start time blocking.
Dude, the oxymoron is discipline creates freedom. That's what people don't understand. And if, I've met high achievers that literally schedule time that they take their wife to dinner or they play with their kid, because if they don't, then they would get what's left over. But by scheduling it, the kid, the wife, the spouse actually knows that they get that time. So you don't have to spend all week thinking about when you're going to fit them in.
Mm-hmm. Or if you will, I do the same exact thing. My girlfriend, Jamie, she has my calendar and she schedules time in there. She's like, I get you for this time. And I go, cool. I know when. And
then you don't have to think about it anymore.
Yep.
Dude, by the way, maybe we should do lists for every episode. Concise, clear,
listicles, man.
fast.
People love lists.
Dude, I'm telling you. So we're going to, guys, if you got some value, read over this list. Do not overcomplicate it. Don't you dare add things into this list, because that's all you need, guys. All right? Share this with somebody that gets some value from it. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us here at The Brain Dump. Now, before you go, it's important to solidify what you've learned here today by taking action. If all you do is listen, then you're only going to retain a small amount of the information you consumed here today. So take a quick moment to really lock in any key insights, tidbits, or pieces of wisdom that you want to carry with you into the future. You can do this by heading over to iTunes and leaving a review with your top 3 takeaways from this episode. If you've already left a review, first, thank you so much. Second, it's time to start a brain dump journal. It doesn't have to be fancy, just a slip of paper will do where you can record a couple quick thoughts from each episode. Science shows this is one of the best ways to ensure long-term retention of new information. And finally, if you've got a brother, a sister, a coworker, or a best friend that you think would benefit from this episode, do them and us a favor and share with them this episode. Your support, as always, means the world to us.